Imagine buying two identical Monstera plants. You place them side by side in the exact same bright window. You give them the same watering schedule, the same soil mix, and the exact same daily care routine. 6 months later, one Monstera is producing large, beautiful leaves, while the other plant barely survives today. How is that even possible? The real answer is not hiding above the soil in the green leaves. It is not in the lighting quality, and it is not even something you can see easily. It is happening deep beneath the potting soil. Roots are the real engine of every healthy houseplant. When roots thrive, everything above the soil follows. When roots struggle, leaves are the last place you notice. Today, we are going underground. By the end of this video, you will understand why growers focus on roots. Learning this hidden world can completely change the way you care for your indoor Monstera plants forever. When most people look at a Monstera, they see leaves, maybe flowers, or sometimes the central stem. But professionals often think deeply about the hidden part of the plant that they cannot see directly. Because nearly every drop of water, every nutrient, every new leaf, and every burst begins below surface. Here is an interesting biological fact. In many indoor plant problems, roots start struggling days before leaves show. That means by the time you notice yellow leaves or slow growth, the real issue developed underground. Today's goal is not teaching advanced botany. It is helping you see roots from a completely different perspective. Once you understand what healthy roots actually do, many plant mysteries suddenly become much easier to solve. If I asked what roots do, most people would answer that they absorb water from the soil. That is true, but it is actually only a small part of the full biological story here. Think of roots as the plant's entire support system. They anchor the plant securely in place today. They absorb water, collect vital nutrients, store energy, and communicate with helpful microorganisms inside the living soil. And perhaps most importantly, they decide how much foliage growth the plant can actually support above ground. Imagine trying to build the second floor of a house before finishing the foundation beneath it. It would not work at all. Plants think in the exact same logical way about their growth. Before they grow bigger leaves, they build stronger roots. Healthy root development always happens before visible growth. Have you ever repotted a Monstera and wondered why nothing seemed to happen for several weeks afterward? Many beginners assume something went wrong. In reality, plants spend that crucial time investing in roots. They are preparing underground before rewarding you with visible foliage. Growth is happening where you cannot see. In a moment, I will show you why soil that stays constantly wet can cause serious problems. Here is one of the biggest misconceptions in plant care. People think roots sit in water all day. They do not. Healthy roots actually need oxygen to function properly. Yes, plant roots actually breathe constantly. Every living root cell needs oxygen to convert stored energy into growth. Well-draining soil is extremely important. When soil stays soaked for too long, tiny air pockets fill completely with stagnant water instead of air. The roots suddenly have far less oxygen available. At first, nothing looks unusual above the soil surface. The leaves remain green, and the plant appears healthy. But below the surface, roots are under stress. This is why overwatering is so dangerous. It is not simply too much water. It is too little air. Imagine wearing running shoes. They are comfortable and breathable. Now imagine wrapping them tightly in plastic bags. Fresh air can no longer reach them properly. Eventually, problems begin. That is similar to waterlogged roots. I once helped a friend rescue a beautiful Monstera. He insisted he was not overwatering his plant. He only watered once a week. That sounded reasonable until we discovered the decorative pot lacked drainage holes. Week after week, water collected at the bottom. Soil near the roots never truly dried out completely. From above, everything looked fine. Below the surface, roots sat in stagnant water for several weeks. We moved the Monstera into a pot with proper drainage. Within a month, healthy new growth appeared. The watering schedule had not changed at all. The oxygen available to the root system had increased. How do growers know if roots are happy without digging up the plant? We will uncover that next. Here is a question I hear all the time. How can I check roots without disturbing my plant? You usually do not need to remove the plant. Healthy roots leave clear clues above the soil. First, pay attention to growth. A Monstera producing healthy new leaves tells you its roots function well. Second, notice how the soil behaves. Does water drain evenly? Does the pot become lighter over several days? Or does it stay heavy and wet for much longer than it used to in past months? A sudden change in drying time tells you more than the visual color of the green leaves. Third, observe stability. Does the Monstera feel firmly anchored, or does it wobble when you touch it? Healthy roots create a strong foundation. Loose plants signal that the root system has been severely damaged. Finally, watch for consistency. Healthy plants follow predictable patterns. When patterns change suddenly, investigate the roots. Most warning signs appear gradually over time. The secret is noticing them early before damage spreads. A viewer once told me her ZZ plant stopped growing for months, though leaves remained green. The soil, which normally dried within 2 weeks, started staying damp for almost a month continuously. When she finally inspected the roots, they had begun to rot. Behavioral clues appear before visual ones. Next, I will show you 3 silent mistakes that slowly damage roots without you realizing it. Many root problems do not happen overnight. They develop quietly over weeks, making them very dangerous. Mistake number 1 is watering on a fixed calendar schedule instead of observing the plant's actual needs. Plants do not own calendars. Their moisture needs change constantly based on season, lighting, and humidity levels. Observe the soil, observe the pot weight, and observe how fast moisture disappears. Good care responds. Mistake number 2 is choosing the wrong pot size. Overly large containers hold excess unneeded moisture. That extra water remains around roots longer, increasing root stress. Give roots the right amount of space. Mistake number 3 is ignoring soil structure. Over time, potting mix breaks down and air pockets shrink. Fresh soil provides oxygen. Older soil becomes compacted, restricting air access even if watering stays identical. One of my first plants stopped growing after a year because soil structure broke down and compacted. Repotting into fresh chunky mix restored oxygen access, allowing roots to breathe and growth to resume. You do not force beautiful leaves. You create root conditions that allow beautiful leaves to develop naturally. When roots receive oxygen, steady moisture, and space, growth becomes consistent and recovery from stress accelerates. Professional growers spend time thinking about invisible roots because the invisible part controls the visible part. Roots are the foundation of a building. Without a strong foundation, nothing above remains strong for long. Next time you water, ask yourself, what kind of environment am I creating for the root system? That single question shifts your focus from a simple routine to building a complete thriving ecosystem. Today's lesson was about perspective. Most people focus on what they can see, leaves and growth. But plants remind us that the most important work happens underground where nobody is actively looking. Healthy roots quietly support every new leaf, every strong stem, and every single season of growth. Next time a plant struggles, pause, ask questions, and think deeply below the soil surface first. When you understand what happens underground, you will understand everything happening above it completely today. If this video helped you see plants differently, subscribe to join our growing community of plant lovers. Leave a like if you enjoyed today's lesson so more plant lovers can discover this video online. Share your repotting story in the comments. I read every comment to inspire future video topics. Remember, healthiest plants are not those with biggest leaves, but those with strongest root foundations.